with New York Vinnie.
On this week's edition of Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week? What about the show?
Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week?
Have a little fun. It is a fun day here out at
You're listening to Drivetime Radio.
Remember, just plug in. I'm ready.
and I love that shot there where it says, I'm ready, because I am. You know, I really love that shot. I don't know if you noticed, if you watched the open or not there. Good morning, by the way. New York Vinnie here with you on a Saturday morning. It is Drive Time Radio. I feel a little New York homesick today, so I left the background up there of the old neighborhood that I used to live in New York, Jackson Heights, 79th Street and Northern Boulevard right there. From the old days. Man, what a time that was. Anyway, no time to talk about that. We're going to pack show for you today. But I look at that shot of me driving the Corvette. I don't know if you noticed that, but that was such an incredible time, an incredible week. I had that was when the C8 Corvette first came out, or the C7, I guess, first came out. And I took my vacation that week, and I drove it up and down the Blue Ridge Parkway. And if you're familiar with the Blue Ridge Parkway, it is just this wonderful road that was built in the Depression by the CCC and the WPA and all of the things with the initials that got us out of the Depression before we got into the war back in that time. And it's just an incredible ride if you take the Blue Ridge Parkway and you hook it up with Skyline Drive that goes through Shenandoah National Park from basically Virginia all the way down to Georgia. And it is, if you ever get a chance to take that drive, go take that drive. I don't care if you do it in a Hyundai, in a Volkswagen, whatever kind of car you have, a rental car, whatever, do it. I mean, I did it in a Corvette one time. I did it in something else cool another time. But it's such an incredible drive. It's first of all, it's a 2-lane road that goes along the ridge of, the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it is the Smoky Mountains. It's just your heart goes pitter patter when you stop at a rest stop and you just look. 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, and you got to keep to it because there's just there's a lot of people on it. But if you can get to that thing in September, October, man, you will see a show that nature puts on unlike anything you have ever seen in your life. And I'm talking about anything. Just an incredible thing to do. And if you ever get a chance to do that, and we'll be talking more as the year goes on about drives, because this is the 100th anniversary of Route 66. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on around Route 66. And I'm hoping, and I got to figure out how to do this. I just kind of started working on it. You know me. I mean, I'm a procrastinator, but I just started working on it. And I tried to do it a couple of years ago. I wanted to do 66 when I turned 66. which was 4 years ago, and I didn't get a chance to do it, health reasons and different stuff like that. But this year, that Route 66 has turned 100 years old. I would like to do Route 66. I'd like to. I don't know if I want to start in Chicago and go out to L.A. or start in L.A. and go up to Chicago, but one way or the other, I want to do Route 66, and I'd like to raise some money doing it for a charitable cause. So I got a couple of people I'm talking to so far. If you have any suggestions or any ideas, please let me know. But I think that's in the cards for this year is Route 66. So that's something to think about. How you doing? Everything okay? You doing okay? I'm looking around a little bit because I have my show notes. I took a chance this week, and I put my show notes on my iPad. For those of you that know me, know that that's taking a chance, man. And for me, that is taking a chance. But John Vincent is going to join us in just a few minutes. We're going to get a chance to talk to him and check in with him. He was at the Detroit Auto Show. That's in full swing. But also presented the North American Car and Truck of the Year Awards, of which John is a juror for that award. And so we'll let you know who is the owner of those awards and a little bit about the process in those awards and, judging them and getting the people, which cars are going to get those awards. We'll talk to John about that. John, of course, the automotive editor of U.S. News and World Report. Okay, we got some news items for you, too. We have Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week coming up? And we're also going to, we also have a radio road test for you as well. One of the nicer cars I've driven in a while. So stick around for all of that coming up as we work our way through a Saturday morning edition of Drive Time. Drive Time is brought to you by my good friend George Jackson and GJPromo.com. George has everything you could possibly want when it comes to advertising specialties. What do I mean by advertising specialties? I just got a new phone case from Rawlings. Okay, where did they get that phone case? They called the guy up like George Jackson, and George got him a phone case that said Rawlings on it. Their business hands those out to people. You need jackets for your business, T-shirts for your business, things to image to identify your business. George can help you with that. You run a sports team. You have to have Little League awards or some kind of awards for your players or for people to participate on your team. You need business awards for people. I got a couple of these bricks around from KJR when I worked there a long time ago that says President's Awards. Well, they're not worth anything except they look good on my shelf. But they would have called up a guy like George Jackson and said, George, I need an award. And George would have called him back, said, what are you looking for? Bing, bing, bing. How much you want to spend? Bing, bing, bing. Ching, ching, ching. And there it goes. And George is delivering the stuff. And plus, he's delivering. It's not a place where you go on a computer and it's impersonal service. George is going to take care of you. George is going to say, hey, you know what? What do you want? How much you want to spend? But more importantly, what image do you want to convey? He's going to consult with you. And that is the great thing about dealing with my friend George Jackson from GJ Promo. He's not just a guy you're going to put it into a computer and they're going to shoot you back a box with some T-shirts. And, if they look right, they look right. If they don't look right, well, send us go to a chat bot, go to our AI, go to this, go to that. Screw that. You're going to call up George if something's wrong. And you're going to talk to George. All right? That's who you're going to talk to. And that's why you're going to use George Jackson and George Jackson Promo, GJ Promo, the next time you need any kind of Business Specialty. He's a longtime sponsor of this show. He's a longtime friend. He's a good guy. I couldn't endorse any human being more in life than my friend George Jackson to do business with. Straight up, honest, good person. You'll love the guy if you need anything along those lines. All right, let's get down to now some of the stuff that we got to talk about this morning before we get to John Vincent coming up in about 10 minutes. Number one, traffic. If you're driving around out there, you're trying to use I-5, you know what's going on. Northbound, the lanes are closed on I-5. That Revive I-5 project from the Washington State Department of Transportation is back. It's in the northbound lanes. It's on the Ship Canal Bridge. Stay away from there. It's nuts. Why give yourself agita in traffic? Is that what you want to do? You want to give yourself agita in traffic? No, you don't want to do that. So what you do is you stay away from northbound I-5. They had some problems earlier this week where they didn't close the express lanes, or they closed them when I ran them the wrong way. I think they might have straightened that out. And so now, and especially today is, Seahawks Saturday. The Seahawks are playing this afternoon, 5 o'clock. So I figured by 8 o'clock tonight, it's going to be a parking lot in downtown Seattle. You're not going to want to go to downtown Seattle if you can help it. Go to Bellevue. They got nice places there too. But the trick is you don't want to go near I-5 if you can help it. This afternoon, today, probably up until midnight tonight. It's going to be a zoo. It was a zoo anyway yesterday. I drove back from the airport. I picked my kid up, and it was a zoo coming up I-5 anyway last night. Do yourself a favor. If you're going someplace in the car, take 405. I don't know if I'd take Aurora Avenue, because that's jammed up too. So that's something that you have to think about if you're out and driving around this week, or this weekend, today, as a matter of fact. So keep that in mind if you're out and you're driving around. All right, a few things going on. Something that, and we'll talk to John a little bit about this coming up, but something that you're going to want to pay a little bit of attention to, electric cars. We always talk about them. Well, one of the big fears that American automakers have is that China's electric cars, because China has got this electric car thing down. Okay, they can put you in an electric car for $5,000. Now, I know that government subsidizing this and that, and Canada and the United States put tariffs on Chinese electric cars. You can't buy a Chinese electric car here in the United States because the tariffs is too much. There's 100% tariff on electric cars. So if you want a BYD Shakamoto, whatever they call it, they got 9 million different names for the cars over there because they got 9 million brands of cars. But if you want one of those cars, you have to pay 100% tariff. I think it might even be more, but at least 100% tariff on that car. So you want a $28,000 car, you got to pay $56,000 for the car. I don't think you're that crazy. You may be stupid, but you're not crazy. So, and this was working fine until guess who came along. So, the Chinese aren't stupid. They might hustle up to the Canadians and they say, oh, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this. And the Canadian Prime Minister says, well, we don't like the United States right now anyway because they're trying to make us the 51st state. And China's saying, well, we're not going to let that happen. Tell you what we'll do. You want to send us some canola oil, you send us canola oil, and we'll send you cars. You take the tariff off the cars. So what they did in Canada is they says, okay, we'll let you send us 60,000. I think it's somewhere around 60,000 SUVs, and we'll just knock that their tariff down to like 10%. A little something. A little something to show that we're, still friends with the Americans. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I have not driven a Chinese EV, but everybody I've spoken to that has driven one has said if those cars get to the United States, forget about it. It's over for the American automaker. It's done. That those cars are that good. That they are solid. They have got the electric thing down, and they are inexpensive. They did it right. They can make they can make an EV. Of course, the Chinese people are making a Chinese EV. They can make an EV that's a good EV, that's a solid EV that has decent range, that can charge well. It has, all the stuff that you want in the EV that would have made the EVs popular here if they had kept on that. They can put that in a car that sells for under $30,000. Well, if they can do that, good night, America. How are you? It's over. People want cars that they can afford. And these Chinese EVs are affordable. Now, the government probably subsidizes them, but you don't care about that. If you go into a showroom and you need a car, they say to you, we'll give you a car. $250 a month, they will give you a car. You sign up, right? Especially if it's a nice-looking car, it's in a pretty color, it's easy to drive, there's plenty of plugs to plug it into. They're not doing like the American automakers did. They figured out I got these EVs, they're going to sell them all for crazy prices. No. Chinese said, we'll sell them fair, matter of fact, we'll subsidize them and we'll keep the price low and everybody will want one. That's what's going on. So, watch Canada. Watch what's going on. Watch as they let these cars into. These cars could be on the street in Canada by March because the biggest company, a company that knocked Tesla out of the number one spot, BYD, Build Your Dreams, BYD, the Chinese company, has their own shipping, has their own boats. So all they got to do is load up a boatload of these things, and they're on a slow boat from China. My grandmother used to say that all the time. I'm going to want a slow boat to China. Well, it's going to work the other way. And these cars are coming, and it's going to be interesting to watch the acceptance among these cars because I suspect that, again, we are seeing the love affair erode with America and Canada. And this is another thing that Canada can do to give the middle finger to the United States. And to be honest with you, why shouldn't they? Our government officials gave a big middle finger to them. So anyway, that's something you gotta be aware of. So the Chinese EVs are coming. Take a ride up to Vancouver, BC, and I'm sure you'll be able to see them pretty soon. You're gonna go, what's that? I never seen one of those before, and that's what you're gonna be seeing in the near future. All right, what else is going on? Stellantis, they pull the plug on a whole bunch of their plug-in hybrids. The ones I think it's a plug-in hybrid seems to be gone from the Stellantis catalog. The one that I'm kind of sad about is the Hornet. I know it wasn't selling worth a damn. You could buy two of them for the price of one probably. But I thought it was a good car. I took one when they first came out, I had a nice orange one, took one on a road trip and up to Canada and back. and it performed perfectly. It was roomy, it was comfortable. Maybe it wasn't as powerful as you wanted it to be. You could have used a little bit more power, but so that's going. The 4xe Jeep is going. All of these great plug-in hybrids are going to disappear from the Stellantis lineup. Now they're going to come back with other ones at some point, but right now it looks like it's gas cars for Stellantis. Except when we get to John Vincent, we'll talk about that because there's a little hook in there for everybody. I'm so sad about the. I'm sad about the. I'm sad about the EVs, about the Chinese EVs coming in, but yet I'm fascinated. I'm interested in seeing these cars. So, yeah, it's the 4xe, the Grand Cherokee, the Chrysler Pacifica hybrids are going. The Alfa Romeo Tonale, all three of those that they sold last year. But like I say, the one I'm concerned about, that I feel bad about, really, and even though they suspended the production of it earlier in the year, the Dodge Hornet. I just thought that was a good car. It never got a real shot because of all the problems. Now, one of the reasons they might be doing that is Mary Barrett. You know that name? We've talked about her before on this show. She's the head of GM. Well, she spoke to a conference and said, part of the problem with this whole hybrid thing, and we're smart, we didn't go to hybrids, plug-in hybrids. We only have one. It's a Corvette. We stayed away because we did a study and we looked at people and we asked people, and they said, well, you know what? We're lazy in America. We're not going to plug in our hybrids. The heck with that. So part of the problem that they're having, it's not just the United States, it's all over the world. People buy the plug-in hybrid so that they have the security blanket of having, they want an electric, but they want the gas and everything, but they don't plug the thing in. So in essence, what they're doing is they're hauling around a 1,000, 2,000 pound battery that it may as well be an anchor because they're not using the vehicle right. Kind of stupid if you ask me, but this is it, because they put such a bad stink on electric vehicles, this administration and so many people that it's going to be years to be able to fix the mess that they've done. But also, I don't know. Can you blame some of the drivers of these vehicles for not plugging these things in because of all the bad juju that governments and all these kind of people have been putting on these vehicles? No. I don't know. Like I say, if you could have a car, okay, I'm driving Land Rover plug-in hybrid this week. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. The Land Rover plug-in, Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid gets 28 to 40 miles between there a gallon on electric. You don't have to, you just plug it in when you come out of the house in the morning, you unplug it, you drive it, you go 40 miles without using gas. But you got to get out of the car in the evening and plug it in. You got to, if you live in a garage, you have a house with a garage. I'm thinking if you're driving a Land Rover, you probably got a house. You got to plug it in. But, you can, if you have a small commute, if you I don't know, you commute 10 miles to work, you don't have to use gasoline all week. Now, it's not such a bad thing right now because gas, I don't know, what did I buy at Costco? $3.25 or something like that the other day. But when the prices shoot up again, and they will, mark my words, they will. You're gonna wish you had that electric car. You're gonna wish you had that plug-in hybrid. But that's part of the problem. How can they get people to get out of their cars at night and plug their car in? I don't know. You tell me how they could do it. If you have the answer, call Mary Barra at the new General Motors building, which is in Detroit at the old Hudson's department store. Oh, what a beautiful place that is supposed to be. I can't wait to get to Detroit and get a grand tour on that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we get a chance now to bring in a gentleman, a friend, a confidant, a good man, a juror at the North American Car and Truck of the Year Awards, the automotive editor of U.S. News and World Report, and a boulevardier, a raconteur, a man we have on the show many times because he's a nice guy. And that's really the reason. He's a nice guy. He knows his cars too. John Vincent from U.S. News and World Report. Come on in, John Vincent. How are you?
Good morning. You left one of my titles out, though, and that is plug-in hybrid owner.
Plug-in hybrid. So, are people just stupid or what? I mean, you buy the car, you should plug it in.
You pay extra money for it. When I can, I plug mine in every night, and it covers my wife's commute every day. So, like you said, don't burn a drop of gas all week long.
Yeah, and you take that money over 52 weeks, and you probably get a week in Hawaii, right?
Well, maybe not quite, but it does add up.
A week in Barstow.
Yeah, but the real reason why plugins sold pretty well in places like California is they allowed you carpool access.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was worth it.
Are they still doing that, or have they changed that now?
They've dialed that back a bit.
Yeah, I heard there was some kind of change going on with that. We never had that here, I don't think. I don't remember it ever being. I was gone for 10 years, obviously, but I don't remember us ever having it, and I think it's a great idea. I think hybrids are a great idea. Plug-in hybrids are a great idea. But here's the question I have. It's easy to say that this is it's a political problem. The Republicans hate the hybrids, so people aren't plugging them in, right? But this is not an American problem. This is happening all over the world. It's happening in Europe as much as it is, according to what Mary Barra was saying. And
I would disagree with her because in Europe and Asia, where electricity costs a lot of money, gasoline and diesel fuel cost a lot of money. People are plugging in their plug-in hybrids. But those areas also have much better infrastructure for charging electric vehicles. Right.
They have like the parking meters with the plugs on them that you can just...
Every streetlight pole you can just plug into. And the cord there isn't attached to the pole. You carry the cord with you. So you just pull it out of the back of your car, plug in. They don't have the problems with people stealing the copper off the chargers. It's a different setup.
So it's convenient, and convenience really counts in these kinds of things. I memean, the easier you make it for somebody to get out of their car and plug it in, the more likely they are going to be. What is there anything? And I want to get to the knack toys quick, but because this is a fascinating subject to me. Is there anything in your mind that the manufacturers can do to incentivize people to plug in, or the power companies, or anybody, or is it just that's how it's going to be?
Well, for one thing, they can make better plug-in hybrids. There are some good ones out there from Kia and Hyundai. The Jeep system that was just canceled, honestly, it wasn't a very good system. Yeah. Lots of recalls, lots of issues. And that hampered that a lot. So that was one of the reasons that they didn't talk about as to why those cars were killed.
Okay, so that's so maybe if they concentrate on maybe not rushing these things to market so much, and kind of taking a learning curve, or a bit of something that will give people a car that will not be recalled to the dealer 50 times in the 3 months that they own the car. It'll build up consumer confidence. Yes. Part of it is a lack of consumer confidence.
Yeah, or be told for months and months at a time to not charge your car and park it as far away from your house as possible, which was the case with some of them recently.
Yeah, never a good selling point. No matter how much no matter what your rebate program is, the minute you say your car may explode, don't park it in the garage.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll take high test for 50, Alex. Oh man. All right, neck toy is it's not a Star Trek thing. It's the North American Car and Truck of the Year Awards.
Car, Truck, and Utility of the Year awards. It doesn't quite
Utilities.
fit the acronym anymore.
So is it not Toyoi?
That would be difficult. We
Yeah,
just left it at NACTOY.
it's the awards. Let's go with that. But it's kind of like the Oscars for cars. It's you. They have a bunch of people who know about cars, who write about cars, on a for their jobs, for what they do to earn money, and you get together and you drive all of these different cars. They come down with a list, and out of that list, you come up with a car and a truck, and it's a really interesting process, but it's also an interesting bunch of people that vote on these too, because there's it's not just like the guys at Car and Driver and the guys at Road and Track, and it's a diverse group of people that vote on this award. Some of them I'm lucky enough to have as kind of regular guest on the show. You, Jill Simonillo, who is one of the premier auto writers
from right down the road.
Yeah, I mean it's so you presented the award early this week. Let me ask you first. Let's talk about cars first. Who won the car award?
The 2026 Dodge Charger,
which is I trust a car that they're not going to stop making.
Well, they're building a lot more of them now because the full lineup is out now. So it's available both as an electric and as a gas car in 2- and 4-door models.
Which is interesting. This is the first car in my memory in a while that's been available in 2-door and 4-door. I mean, that way every car was like that when we were kids. I mean, that was, every car had 2-door and a 4-door. A beautiful car, but what put this car above everybody else?
So its competitors were the new Nissan Sentra, which is an excellent update. And I'm trying to remember the third one. For some reason, it's.
I'm gonna look on here while you're talking for a second.
Yep. Oh.
It's funny. I had the thing up here like 2 seconds ago, and okay, that's the utility there. Anyway, well, I'll get in a second because
the Charger does things really well. It's a beautiful design, like you said. The electric one is very, very fast, innovative. One of the things that we reward with the NACTOY Awards is innovation and market importance, and it's just a very good car. Huge price span. They're going to be pretty affordable with the gas engine and in the base models. They get pretty expensive with the electric models, but you're also looking at hundreds and hundreds of horsepower. I just had one in the snow in Detroit while I was back there, and it was a very happy car to drive in the snow.
It seemed to be a car. Now, I just had a little bit of seat time in it. I'm waiting for one to come up in press fleet here. And I was just so impressed on so many levels. First of all, it felt like it was, the when you got in the Charger or the Challenger, they felt like retro cars. They felt like cars that were built off of something else to evoke our love. This felt like where the whole car business, the performance business, the electric business is going. It was the future as opposed to, it didn't try to embrace me with the past. crazy or
Stellantis as a brand does a great job of remembering their heritage and building that heritage into their cars. But they pulled it forward into, what people want today. I mean, you can't build a 73 Dodge Charger anymore and have people clamor for it. Because they have new expectations in terms of performance, economy, comfort, technology. Has to have Apple CarPlay, all that kind of stuff. So, Dodge did a great job of giving that feeling of heritage, but making it today's car.
To make this car, to build this car on really the four models, the four levels that we're talking about, gas, electric, two-door, four-door, to have this car, that's a risky thing for any auto manufacturer. It seemed to me to be, there's a reason that you don't see them every day. But yet they seem to hit that note in the risk of building a car like this that can reach out to the performance enthusiast on one end and the commuter on the other end of the spectrum.
Absolutely. It is difficult because when you start building more than one car off a platform, everything is compromised. That's especially true when you're building an EV and a gas car off the same platform.
Yeah.
You have to build it with wide enough frame rails to fit the EV battery. The weight distribution is dramatically different with gas cars and electric cars. One of the reasons that it's sold with the inline six engine is the frame rails up front don't really have to be that wide because there's, it's mostly an electric platform, but it's just wide enough that you can slide an inline six in there.
Any chance that they're going to bring back the slant six at all, or?
Nah. If you've driven their new inline six turbo, there's no reason that slant six needs to come back.
I'm just a nostalgia guy for that slant six. Yeah. I thought that was one of the most underrated engines that was ever produced. And I don't know, it never got its due.
I believe that some publication at one point proved that it was actually bulletproof. They could shoot it and it would still keep running.
I would believe it. I mean, the number of cars I had with that engine in it that were basically a car and a transmission and not much else was far beyond any Ford or Chevy vehicle that I drove with the same kind of setup. It really was a great engine. I think it was a 225 slant six was a great car. And how do you think that the public will accept the Dodge Charger?
That is a big open question. And for the electric Dodge Charger, it's one that I can't answer yet because, you have your Dodge muscle car guys and you have your EV guys, and there's not a lot of crossover between those two groups. But right. The gas Charger, I think, will do very well in the market.
And a lot of people, that's a car that besides the family car, which is also one of the few cars that are made in America these days. It's also, I don't know if it's the number one police vehicle in the United States, but it's the number one police car. I don't think there's anybody else making a car, except I think Tesla was cranking out a few of them, if I'm not mistaken. But as for a car, that's it. And police agencies, for some reason, still want cars.
Some do. And Charger is really the only one that they can buy, although the new Charger hasn't come out with a police package yet. Most police agencies are using Ford Explorers now.
Yeah, that's been, which is a vehicle that is proudly made. A friend of mine actually works at that plant in Chicago, where they've been cranking them out there for a gazillion years. All right, let's go from passenger car to truck. Uh, I had to see this coming. In my top 5 cars that I didn't want to get back this year, the number 2 vehicle that I did not want to get back was the Ford Maverick Lobo. There was just nothing wrong and everything right about that vehicle, and I was happy to see that the people at the NACTOY Awards, you included, agreed with me that was the truck of the year. What a fantastic little vehicle!
Street trucks were once a huge deal in the U.S., and they've kind of fallen out of favor. And I think that the Maverick is the little truck that can bring street trucks back. It's a little pricey for a Maverick. It gets up into the 40s, but it's just a great little truck, and it's as much pickup as many people need. Ford's goal with that truck is to make it the entry-level car for people. Where they used to go out and buy, a Ford Focus. Kids today wouldn't be interested in a Ford Focus, but something as flexible as a Maverick that they can use to go camping, do whatever, is very appealing.
And also, and you hit the nail on the head, is if you really want that kind of station wagon thing, you get a camper cap and you put it on the back and you got your little kind of SUV. But if you want that feeling of going out into the wild and sleeping in the back of the thing, or putting the platform on it, as many people do, it gives you that too. It really gives you that. I was just, shocked by the simplicity of it, enamored of the materials that were used in it, because everything was just, if you spilled a chocolate milkshake on the seat, you got a rag and you wiped it up. No, like, oh my God.
Right.
It just cleaned right up and you were on your way.
Yep.
It just seems like every facet of that truck, the Ford Maverick, the Lobo and its lesser models, just Ford thought it out and got it right.
Yeah, and great fuel efficiency on top of that compared to any other truck that's out there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that now, again, you hit on this. It's kind of sad that that they jacked the price up, because but the cheap ones that you can buy, the less expensive ones, I guess you can still buy it for $25,000 if you go shopping, right?
Yeah, if
you got to shop hard.
Yeah, you got to shop a lot to get that, but you can do it for under 30.
Yeah, but that's that's probably, I would have to think that's the best you can do for a vehicle under $30,000 these days.
There are a couple other vehicles, not trucks, but vehicles you can get for under that. But the list is getting shorter every day, it seems like.
Yeah, really.
And I just figured out what was the third car of the year nominee, and that was the Prelude, the all-new Prelude.
You're the man, John Vincent. That's why we love to have you on the show, because you can see I can't multitask anymore. I'm old, and I have attention span of a gnat these days. So if I start looking at that, I'll forget I'm talking to you. All right, and the third vehicle in this beautiful triumvirate was the Hyundai Palisade, regular gas, a hybrid, any way you cut up the Hyundai Palisade, as a utility vehicle, as just a family car. This is it. I mean, how much better does it get? Does it even get any better? Price point, options, low packages, loaded
warranty,
up, safety,
warranty.
10 years. You don't beat this. You don't beat this thing at all in any facet of a vehicle.
The regular Palisade is great. The Palisade Hybrid is fantastic. It is, in my opinion, the best SUV you can buy today.
And it
competes with a lot of really good vehicles
and everything else, right?
Yep, it competes with a lot of really good vehicles. I don't think anything beats this SUV.
What puts it above everything else?
Luxury level cabin, great performance, good efficiency, that warranty, and prices that aren't over the top.
Yeah. I mean, I know that Hyundai knocked down some of their prices at the turn of the year, and when they stopped doing the incentives, and for the most part, dealers have been sticking to that. They're not trying to, you know, overcharge people or get more than MSRP or whatever. You can shop Hyundai and get a deal pretty easily, unless you're trying to get the Ioniq 5. What is it? M? I forget.
Ioniq 5N. I
N.
think you can actually get a good deal on the Ioniq 5N right now too. And if
Which
you want to see those deals, just visit US News, because we track every advertised deal across the country on our pages.
See. This is why we have John on, because I can throw him a fastball like that, and John gets the old Hillerich and Bradsby, puts it behind his shoulder, and bang for the fences, man. And what's that website again?
That's usnews.com.
Okay, I want to make sure that we have that in. But they seem to have hit that magic combination, especially with with their cause of consumer confidence, not recalling the car every 5 minutes, safety, which is a very important, especially in the SUV space. You have to build a safe car. You got to give people a car that people are going to feel confident about putting their kids in.
Absolutely, you do. That's one of the top reasons that people buy SUVs, is the idea that they're safer than cars.
Yeah, I mean it's and also, and we don't put a lot of credence into this these days. Many people, not everybody, you and I think do. It's a beautiful car.
It really is.
It's a stunning looking car.
One thing that Hyundai does that other manufacturers don't is that almost every Hyundai looks different than every other model in the lineup. If you go to Kia, you'll see a family resemblance. If you go to Chevy, you'll see a family resemblance. Hyundais, they're all different. And for the most part, they're all really good.
Yeah, I can't recall a Honda that I thought was not a good looking car, and that kind of started. There was a guy named, and I have an autographed something from him at some point. A guy named Peter Schreier, who used to be an Audi designer, and then went over and said, "Give me Hyundai. I'll show you what I can do. Give me a blank slate, and let me go out and design some cars for you."
Yeah, he did Kia, and was responsible for some really fantastic looking Kias, like the Kia Stinger.
Yeah, what a car that was.
Yeah. And while we're talking about Hyundai, before I got on, you were talking about Chinese cars coming to America.
Right.
Remember that Canada is where Hyundai got its toehold in North America. Hyundai was sold in Canada before it was sold in the U.S.
Wow, I did not realize that. I thought they kind of entered at the same time.
No, they were in Canada for a couple of years first.
Wow.
And Chinese cars are coming to America. But the first ones will probably be American-made Chinese cars, because there's a company called Geely. Geely owns Volvo, and
Right.
Volvo has a plant in South Carolina that's not very well utilized, and it can build a whole bunch of Chinese design electric cars.
So we'll see them as Volvos, or we'll see them as Geelys.
You'll probably see them as Geely, one of Geely's brands. I'm guessing Zeekr is one of them.
Okay.
Zeekrs are gorgeous. Can't speak to the quality of them yet, because we haven't, seen them on American roads.
Right.
But feature-wise, they're every bit as good as anything on the road in the U.S. today.
Right. And you had mentioned something about them. I think we were talking one time last year. You were talking about Zeekr, I believe, and we're saying to look out for this brand, that when they eventually get here, and these Chinese cars are coming. I mean, they can play here and tariff there and do this and do that, but the reality is they're coming.
Yeah, you're putting fingers in the dam to hold them back right now.
Yeah,
and they're going to make it. And
Will
all our tariffs are going to do is set the U.S. industry further and further behind them.
yeah, protectionism it never really works. It doesn't.
Nope.
I mean, you got to build a better product than they do and sell it for less money than they do. Once
Absolutely.
once you get out of that, especially with cost, because people are going to buy what's sexy, what costs less and is sexy. They still is one of the areas in life where they still want that we don't get to dream about a lot of stuff these days anymore, John. Our dreams have kind of, they're different than they were years ago. But you can still dream about your cars. You can still, even if you want to go into hock up to your neck for it, you can still drive a car that has a little style, a little panache, a little pizzazz. It's one of the few places left in life where you can do that. And the person, the company, the designers that can sell that, I think will be huge. And that's what these, again, I'll go back to Hyundai and Kia. That's what they sell. They sell beauty. They sell sexiness. They sell a quality in their cars.
Yep. Even if those are perceptions and not necessarily reality, they sell them. They sell on perception. I had the great opportunity to talk to the head of Stellantis this last week while I was in Detroit, and a gentleman named Tim Kaniskis, really fascinating guy. He was saying that, what the American car industry needs to keep moving is for consumers to want a new car every 3 years.
Yeah, that's gone.
Even if their loan's 6 years, they're going to want a new car every 3 years. And the American car companies or the world's car companies have been really good at giving them something that they're going to want every 3 years. If they stop giving consumers what they want, then consumers are going to say, I'll hold on to this car for another few years, and I'm not going to go out and buy a new car. And that would be devastating for the world's auto industry.
No, and that at one time when I was growing up, that's how it used to be. That's how it was. I always remember, and we've talked about this before. September, you were standing at the window of H.M. Williams Chevrolet on Junction and Northern, with the paper up on the windows, and at 3:00 one afternoon in September, they pull that paper off, and there was the brand new 1965 Impala. And it didn't look anything like the 1964 Impala. It was a totally different vehicle. And you wanted it. They created that. You didn't need it. It was the same car under the sheet metal. But it was that sexiness. It was that I want to drive something different. I want to aspire to something different, something cooler, something that the other guys on the block don't have yet.
And ironically, the car that Ford named the Aspire was the only car that nobody ever aspired to drive.
Oh, what a guy I worked with had one of those. What a brute. My God. Was this, John, your first, the first time you voted on this, or this was your second year, right?
It was my second year of voting, but it was my first year on the board where I actually had the opportunity to stand on stage and present one of the awards.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure we got to that before you went, because you wrote a Facebook post about that, and it was so. I just I was in my heart. I was there with you when you wrote that, because it's such a cool thing. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me, as you were standing there in front of all of our peers, all the people that we look at their writing, they look at ours, we all look at each other's stuff, and we're able to present those awards.
Well, I got into the industry, working, covering cars, at a, daily newspaper, in Portland, Oregon, where I was the photographer on the page. I wasn't even doing the writing. And eventually I started doing the writing, moved up through that. And then, newspapers kind of collapsed, and I never thought I'd be at a national publication. And I got the opportunity at US News, which has been amazing. And even then, I could never imagine being considered one of the, top in the field. And to be up on stage presenting the head of Dodge an award was amazing. I mean, it's something I never would have thought of that I would be able to do.
Were you nervous?
Oh yeah.
You're not a nervous guy, John. I know you. You're not. You're a cool customer. You're a good cookie, man. You're a cool. When all the crap is going on around, John's over there fixing it. He's like thinking it through and going, "Did this? This must have been just something where you were like, hope nothing.
Yeah.
Hope I don't drop it."
Okay, those awards are super heavy, and I was terrified of dropping it when I was handing it off to the gentleman from Dodge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so nothing went wrong. Everything went perfect.
Nothing went wrong that anybody saw.
Good. See, that's again the trick, right? Always.
We had one of our board members who unfortunately was out ill. Another one who was on a red eye from San Francisco that got delayed. So we did some jockeying things around on Wednesday morning, but I don't think anybody in the audience noticed that anything was different.
We belong to the same press association, NWAPA, Northwest Auto Journalist Automotive Press Association. By the way, if you're a member of NWAPA and you're listening, dues are due. Get them in. I just paid mine yesterday. What would you say to we at NWAPA present an award to young aspiring journalists every year at different colleges around the Northwest. I would say that this is a profession topping kind of moment, and maybe get inducted into the Peterson Museum Hall of Fame or something like that. But for a lot of people, we do this to do something like that, to stand up in front of your peers and to present an award like that is a pretty heavy, pretty groovy thing. What would you say to a young person who is listening to this and is saying, wow, this sounds like a very cool job to have? What would be your words of advice to that person who wants to go somewhere in this business? Not just be an influencer and get clicks, but to actually, put your heart and your soul into, and I'll get letters from influencers, but your heart and your soul and what you feel about a car into what you're writing about.
So I think my biggest piece of advice would be, and this goes for any industry, anything you want to do with a passion, and that is learn how to listen. Vinnie, you and I have been to a lot of car shows where there's somebody off talking like they know everything there is to know everything about everything. That's not who you want to be. You want to be the guy who's there listening and taking it all in. I mean, we've had opportunities to, you and I have been doing this for a while, ride with some of the top drivers in the world on the racetracks, and just watching and listening and not telling them about your last track day and how great you did, but absorbing everything that they're doing. Talking to the head of Stellantis this week, it wasn't about me. It was about listening to what he had to say. Go and look at cars. Go and drive cars. Every time you get a chance to drive a car. Learn what's different, and then start developing your channels. Start with social media and build up from there.
Yeah, I'm just I was so touched by your post, and John Vincent on Facebook. I suggest you jump on and read it, because it was just you just get to certain milestones in your life and in your industry and in what you do, and it doesn't seem like a lot to many people, but if you live in your body, you know what's going on. You know that that's a milepost, that's a slot, that's a place that says to you and maybe your family who has been with you on the ride, and had to sacrifice that. And again, it's not like did the an inauguration speech, but for our business and our place in life, that's a very heavy thing. I was proud of you, man. I was really I was like touched by just the whole idea that you were doing that.
This business has a lot of rewarding things to it. You also have to work very, very hard and hustle to stay at the top. This week, last week I was in Detroit for 3 days. This next week I have to fly to Europe for 1 day and then fly back to Washington, D.C. for 4 days. And then I think I have a week off before I travel again.
Wow.
And all of that time on airplanes is going to be at the laptop writing.
Yeah. Well, you're one of the hardest working guys I know in the business. And I know, listen, we've been doing this a while. You're without a doubt one of the people that you always, you always say, boy, I wish I had the stamina, the ability to work like you do. And that's why not only is you're an example to look up to for people that want to do this, but that your craft, your work is so good. I mean, I'll wash your face a little bit here. You're the best at what you do. And that's and in this business, with the way media is today, you have to be that to survive.
Well, I'm also surrounded by a great team. I work with true professionals. One of them is like in your neighborhood up there in Seattle, Alex Quanton, my boss, our managing editor.
Yeah.
Researcher in Denver, writers in DC and Chicago, a great group of freelancers all over the country. I've surrounded myself with great people, and the best bosses are the ones who lift you up, don't stand on you.
Yeah.
And I have those. So it's just a good situation.
Well, congratulations, John. I know that it was a milestone in your career, and I was glad to be. I wish I would have been in Detroit to see it, but next year,
Nah, you didn't want to be in Detroit last week.
Yeah,
Their forecasters are worse than ours. Their forecasters forecasted a dusting to 1 inch of snow the other night. 5 inches later.
Yeah, it's brutal. You're right. I didn't want to be, I'd want to be hanging out with you somewhere. But as far as, going to Detroit, although I always, when I lived in Pittsburgh, I loved going to that show because it was a nice drive over through Ohio. And it was, you got to stop by and see the Jeep factory on the way up in Toledo as you headed north up to Detroit. John, it's, again, it's really, really good to catch up with you. Congratulations on this. The awards are good and everything like that. But also just the accomplishment of what you've done in this, and not only being a juror, but also being the person who, one of the people who hand out the awards. What can I say but congratulations, man? That's a good thing. I'm proud to know you and proud to be able to call you a friend.
Thanks, Vinnie. That really means something coming from you. It really does.
Thank you, man. It's from the heart. Like Sammy Davis Jr. would always say, it's from the heart, baby. It's from the heart.
And now we have to prepare ourselves because I hear there's a football game this afternoon.
Somebody told me something about that. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they could be talking about. Who you rooting for? Because you're in the middle, huh?
What color am I wearing?
No. Well, yeah.
What color am I wearing? I'm not wearing, red and gold.
Okay, just check. Well, I did 13 years in San Francisco too, so there was a time. But
that time is past, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, my heart is firmly ensconced in the Seahawks. Well, I did so much work to help build that stadium and get that thing done and keep the team from leaving here way back when. That was for exactly days like this. For exactly days where we'd sit around and go, all right, let's wear our blue on a Saturday. John, the game's today, 5:00.
Oh, the game is today. Yes, normally Sundays, but they get Saturdays.
Don't sleep. Don't sleep through this game.
Sleep? You mean don't work through this game? Yeah.
John, thanks for jumping on with us, man. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Vinny.
All right, John. John Vincent from U.S. News and World Report joining us here on Drive Time Radio. Always love getting a chance to spend a couple of minutes with John. All right, let's go through this. Yo, Vinny, what are you driving this week? Because I'm driving a car that you ought to know about, and it's we've been talking about plug-in hybrids, and this is one of those plug-in hybrids, and again, a vehicle that. Where are we here? Come on, Vincent. Really, one of these years, I'm going to get all of this stuff straight. Okay. Again, I apologize because this should be a lot easier than it is for me, but I don't know why it's doing what it is doing. But it is doing it. All right, this is the Land Rover. This is a beautiful, beautiful vehicle, kids. Plug-in hybrid, Land Rover, Range Rover Sport. It is one of the packages of the plug-in hybrid. Both of them, this particular package is the top package in excess of 500 horsepower. As I said before, when we were talking to John, gets close to 40 miles without touching a drop of gasoline. It is luxurious as all get out. It is a vehicle that smothers you in luxury, from the seats, as you can see there, to the touch panels that you touch, to the buttons, to the to the things that you use to switch the different components in the vehicle. Maybe a little quirkiness to the entertainment system, but I'll take it for the feel and the luxury of this vehicle. Big, huge screens that you can look at to know exactly what is happening with your vehicle. Huge tires, huge wheels, big brakes. Style all over the place. I mean, every line in this car feels like it is put together by a master craftsperson. And on top of it, it just feels as if it is the top vehicle that you can drive in that class. Now, I don't know that it is or it isn't. I haven't done enough comparison to the others yet. But any vehicle that has two shark fins on it has got to count for something. And that's exactly what the Range Rover does. The Land Rover Range Rover does the Sport. About $120,000 is what it's going to cost you out the door. And I don't know that they're doing a lot of deals on them these days. But again, it's a vehicle that luxury-wise is as good as anything else you're going to get into at any price. And so I'm looking forward to taking it up. One of the good things about any Range Rover that you drive, any Land Rover that you drive, is you're going to get in it and you know that you're going to go climbing rocks and sides of hills and mountains with it, and that it's going to feel good. It's going to feel like you are capable of doing anything. You're going to feel like the land, like the ability for this vehicle to go through a stream, the ability of this vehicle to go through mud, the ability of this vehicle to go through ice and snow and take you off road and go up the side of a mountain is going to be there. It is, bar none, one of the most capable vehicles that you will ever drive when it comes to off-road. It's not a race car. It's not a wannabe off-road vehicle. It is an off-road vehicle. It is a vehicle that you are going to say, I got to get somewhere to rescue somebody, and this vehicle will get you there to rescue them. It's that simple. Again, just my initial impressions. That's why we do, Yo, Vinny, what are you driving this week? So we can let you know what I'm driving. But if you see me out there and you see me driving it, say hello, won't you? and spend a minute talking. Ask me about a vehicle, any vehicle that I'm driving that you see me drive. Please don't ever feel like you're imposing on me. Stop and ask me about the vehicle. One of the very cool things about this vehicle, besides the coldest console ice box, I mean, this thing doesn't just have an ice box, it has a freezer in the console, in the center console. You can take your box of creamsicles and put them in that box that's in the center floor there. And when you open that thing up, those pops are going to be nice and ice cold. And let's face it, that's the only ice you really want to see, isn't it? Beautiful vehicle. I'll give you a full review on it coming up in the next few weeks. We'll get a chance to evaluate it and see if we can get all the Nutsy Fagan and get them to go with me on a ride in this thing and get their opinion of what this is and how they like it. I got a feeling that they're going to be just fine with it. All right. I think that is just about everything that we have, isn't it? I want to make sure I don't want to shortchange you on the show and make sure that we didn't give you something that we should. We got to the Chinese EVs. Oh, yes. One more thing that I have for you. And I want to get to these particular vehicles. The Kia Carnival is a vehicle that I got a chance to drive a couple of weeks ago. And I just so impressed with the Kia version of a minivan. First of all, they don't like you to call it minivan. Kia wants you to call it a people mover. Kia wants you to acknowledge and say that there is more to a minivan than just some seats, some headphones, and crayons pushed into the back of the seat or into the carpet on the floor. They want you to feel like you really have some style, some panache when you're driving their version of a minivan, which they call a people mover. So they came up with the Kia Carnival and said, take this out for a ride. See what you think about this. Spend a week in this. Go play with the amount of seats that it has and go play with the different ways we've created for you to configure the seats. Rent a couple of kids, grab a family on the block and go take them for a trip. And so that's what I did with this vehicle. I got a chance to go out and take them on the Joe, the course that I use every week to test my vehicles on. And it was really an experience because Kia has really nailed it when it comes to this type of vehicle. First of all, it doesn't look like anything else out there that is a minivan. It has much more the feel of a Chevy Suburban type vehicle. It has much more of a vehicle. It doesn't give you that rounded minivan look. It gives you sharp, muscular lines. It says to people that open this thing up and look inside. It has compartments. It has places that people can put things in, that they can stick, different kinds of huge, what do they call these things? Stanley cups. These types of cups that, people are now, in love with. What is this? 460 ounce or 40 ounces. And it has places that fit all of these type of things. That if you need to hang up an iPad, that you need to put different pieces of modern life, that it all fits, it all goes along with you, and it doesn't look like you're driving a minivan, a rounded off eggshell. You're driving a vehicle with some sharp lines. You're driving a vehicle that actually has a little pizzazz in it. You're driving a vehicle that is fun to drive. I'm not going to say it's a sports car. I'm going to say that it's a vehicle that's a little bit engaging. A minivan, it's actually engaging to drive. And
Puts another car through its paces.
again, you're driving something when you look at this thing. Again, take a good look at this vehicle, and see exactly where the Carnival sits as far as style. The little things, the placement of the lights, the Kia trademarks, the grill. They changed on the 26 model, the grill. They said, people, we wanted to give them something. The little things, the textures of the shark fin. You see that fin that's there? They put a little texture and a little bit of style. It's probably a little thing, didn't cost them but 10 cents to do per truck, per car. But yet, it adds something to it. Look at the room inside of this thing. They thought about the things like, powering the seats, putting the different types of receptacles in there for electric power, the different configurations, so you could get a flat floor, or you had to put a couple of people here, a couple of people there, getting in and out of the back row of seats. It was all well thought out by Kia, and it all fits together perfectly. It gives you the ability to get in the car, not break your neck as you get in the car. It gives you power, 230 horsepower, a transmission that feels like it's giving you shifts, a dual sunroof that gives the people in the back of the vehicle a little breath of fresh air, as well as the people in front. One of my favorite things, this little device that we're looking at there, which hooks up to that little device that we're looking at, the screens in this vehicle that give you an ability to look back at the people in the back of the vehicle, converse with them without having to twist your head all the time, and you don't have to scream over everything that's going on, that you can communicate with people. Interior components that are, they're not like in the Land Rover. They're not, going to blow you away with leather imported from Madagascar or whatever. But this little passenger view thing, which I love, I talked about it. The kids are in that row. The camera's on them. You can talk to them. They can talk back to you. You can hear them. And you'd be surprised when they hear that voice coming out of that passenger view device, how much they pay attention to it. Plus, on top of it, as I was thrifting with this thing, I took this thing thrifting with me. I found something that I always wanted to in my life. So for the first time, I can tell you that the sound acoustics for live instrumentation in the back of the Kia Carnival are beautiful. It sounds good. It sounds like a vehicle that you should be driving if you like this type of vehicle. $50,000, I think $52,000 out the door. A mandolin sounds wonderful in the back of this vehicle, and more importantly, it brings you joy. It's functional. It brings you joy. It's well designed. It looks good, and I think it's worth every dollar that they ask for it. Kia does a great job with their cars, and available in hybrid or in just a regular gasoline configuration. I think it's well worth the money that you spend on this car. If this is the kind of car that you're in the market for, I think it's a car that is well worth the money that you spend on the car. Mandolin is not included. You got to go and buy that yourself. But I was so happy that day. I had such joy that day driving the Kia Carnival, because not only was I driving this really neat car, but I also had this car that I just felt like it was my lucky day when I was driving it. I got this mandolin, and I just sat in the parking lot of the Deseret place up on Aurora, next to where the old ice rink used to be up there at Shoreline. And I thought about my friend Brad Perkins, who was his ashes were interred in the ice at that rink. He was a great hockey player. And I sat there and I played a little song for Brad in my really limited mandolin ability, but it wasn't like singing. It's not how you sound, it's how you feel. And I sat there and I just played a little something. And I just, and just said to myself, Brad, wherever you are, man, I know that you're hearing this. I know that they took your ashes away from the ice rink, but it was just a really neat moment, an emotional moment for me. So if you're in the market for this type of vehicle, give the Kia a look. And then go get yourself a mandolin, sit in the back of it, and play some music for somebody, your sweetheart, or your kids, or whoever. But bring that music into their life, into your life, and you'll be able to hear them play it, hear yourself play it, and hear it perfectly in the back of the Kia Carnival. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to John Vincent for being our guest today from the U.S. News and World Report, and his explanation of the goings on in the automotive business. I will catch up with you Monday morning at 10:10 with Michael Knight, and otherwise, go Seahawks. Let's get past the 49ers, and maybe we could all hop into a Kia van and drive down to the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. I don't know how we get tickets, but it'd be nice to be heading down there. I don't think it'd be a bad idea to take a ride to the Super Bowl in a Kia van from Seattle to the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. The Seahawks, and I don't know, pick the team that you want to pick. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you on Monday morning if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Be nice to each other. Don't forget, you can always leave me a message at Vinnie at drivetime-radio.com. You can also go to our Facebook and our social media channels and reach us there. And on top of it all, do me one more favor, please. Please, I beg of you, please. We need to get to a number of subscribers. If you listen to this show, usually you're surviving it. But please, if you go to YouTube and look us up, Golden V Media, and subscribe and like the show so that we can get the listeners and get some people listening to the show and enjoying the show. And finally, one more thing before I go. Thank you to George Jackson, who supports the show. He's our sponsor. He's been our sponsor for many years. And George is a wonderful guy. You know what? One time I want to gather all of the people who helped me put this show together. George Jackson and Nathan Miller and John and Jill and my kid and Nutsy Fagan and all of the people that helped put this show together, and have just a drive time party. Have just watch a game or something together, or maybe all go to a game or something like that, and just get together and enjoy each other, because I feel like we all know each other because we've spent all of these Saturday afternoons together over all of these years that we've talked about cars. So it'd be nice to actually get to meet each other in person. Maybe I'll show up at Shoreline Cars and Coffee one day, or go surprise them down at at one of the museums, or one of the various cars and coffees of the museums or something like that. We have to work on that. God bless you all. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye now.